Well, welcome to Paulette's Paper Play, and today I'm working with Find It Trading's Frosted Florals, and like much of Find It Trading's products, there is an 8x8 paper sheet, and then there are 4 sheets of push-outs. They call them push-outs. They're actually die cuts, but you just push them out. And there are so many things that you can do with these. In fact, this is just one. So won't you please come play with us? Okay, before I get started with the projects, let me just walk you through this. So Frosted Florals is an 8x8, and there are 16 double-sided sheets in here. Now, let me just show them to you. And this isn't really a sheet. There's some text here and an idea. So then there's also this sheet, and there's the back. So you know, when it said Frosted Florals, I was kind of surprised to see the holly in there, but there's also lots else. So I guess this is something that you can do for multiple seasons. So there we go. So let's see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, gingham, the dot, 5, and 6, and then we start over. So you're going to duplicate that, and then in the back, there are some cutouts, and also 2 sheets of those, so some tags and things. I didn't use any of these. In fact, I didn't use any of these, but they're certainly there for you. Okay, so then there are the 4 sheets, and I'll be showing them to you. This is the Frosted Florals baskets. This is the Frosted Florals vases, so they're glass. This is the Frosted Floral tint. And then these are the bows. Okay, so they're all in the same color range, as you can tell. So let's get started with the baskets. And I'll start with the very first card. And that's the one that I showed you. And what I have a tendency to do is, of course, to play with the colors. And also to, these are designed so that there is a number 1, and that's the full image. There's a number 2, which is designed to be able to be foam taped on top. It doesn't have all of the art, but it has most of it. And then there's a number 3 and a number 4, which are specific areas that the designer wants to highlight. And there are 3 images per sheet. That's not bad for $1.89, do you think? What I like to do is to make these larger. And you do that by adding something to the background. So in the case of these baskets, I selected this set to use. So I didn't use this double set or this kind of wicker. I used this one. And I first took that blue gingham sheet that I showed you. And because this has white in the art, let me just let that rest there. See the white? That means that I wanted to have some of my white cards showing, okay? Now, when you pop this out, there is a white edge on it. I felt that I could easily just place it on one of our 4-inch wide white paper doilies. These are neat. You get 20 in the package, and they just go a long way. So I thought that gingham and this paper doily just was a nice combination. So I took the number 1 and I foam taped it in place. And then I took, let me see, because I have it right here. I took number 3, which was this one. I guess it might help if I showed it to you. And I took number 4. And I layered them on top of here again with foam tape. Now, with this blue, this sounds silly because, you know, I approve every single dazzle that we do, and I wasn't aware that we had 2 shades of blue. So that was interesting. Kind of funny, isn't it? And I elected to use 2 things. This is out of the Inside Outside Primary Dazzles, And in this, there are several sheets, several different colors, but this blue was such a doggone beautiful match with the blues in this. It was just great. So I put the Thinking of You, 2 of the butterflies. I also went into our Fancy Border primary colors. Now this set has blue, green, red, brown, yellow, and black. There's the green one on top. But it also had the same color of blue. So I used that around the edge. So it's a very feminine look with the gingham, this doily, and the kind of that lace edge. And I thought the butterflies were just a really nice addition. Notice one is a solid butterfly and one is an open, and that just worked out nicely. Now, I used number 1, 3, and 4, so I had the second one available. So I went to go inside the card. And when I did this, I thought, well, if I leave this white, if I'm going to use that doily again, I really need to color it. So I wasn't sure which of my blues to use. So as is my practice, I took 2 of them, and I could have taken all of them, and put them onto a piece of white cardstock. I wanted to make sure that I labeled them so I would remember what I used. And I decided to go with the Air Force Blue, and it is right here. And so I took another doily, now I'm down to 18 out of that package, and I set it on my craft mat, and just placed the doily there and just tapped and just went in a little bit. And with the blending brush, you can really control that. So I just made that little piece, and I kept this. In fact, I have a whole bunch of these that I do keep, and glued that in place. What's nice is that the doily is solid in the center, so that gives you a nice gluing surface, and you can leave the edges unattached. That's perfectly fine. So then my number 2 image, which is this one that's upside down there, but right side up there, glued that in place. Then I took more of that same sheet of dazzles and did the 2 borders. And I thought that worked out nicely, just having the 2. You Make Me Smile with More Butterflies is out of that same collection of dazzles. So that worked well. This is the card inside, outside. And the deal is like this: Thinking of You, You Make Me Smile. So that's a nice inside and outside sentiment. Okay, so I have the blue gingham on the outside, but my dazzles and my doilies are the things that are the same from front to back. So that's my first card. Okay, now let's move on. Now my second card looks similar to my first card, and I kind of realized that after I had done it, but I think that this one stands alone. So let me show you what this is doing. So again, I wanted to make this image larger, and I did that with an oval cutting die. So you can see the 2 papers I selected, this kind of plaid and then the dot. So I first cut the plaid to be, it's actually a ½ inch smaller than my card all the way around. So this is 5 by 6½. So my paper is 4. I said a ½ inch, didn't I? Okay, so it is 4½
right.
by 6. Then I took the oval doily, oval border, there we go, our oval, not the scallop, but just the oval one, and I die cut that piece. Now you want to hold on to that piece, and then I took the dot and just glued it behind it, and then attached it to the front of my card. Use whatever adhesive you like. I like glue sticks, so that's what I put on. Now, my piece here is from the vase collection. So let me show you that whole thing. So the vases are kind of mason jars. So they are, in my mind, they're glass. And I really wanted to play with that glass. So the set that I used is along this edge. And very similarly to the last set is that I did use all of them. This is actually the sheet, but I used the number 1, the number 3, and the number 4. So let me show you what that is. Number 1 goes down, just glued down. Number 3 is foam taped, and what the instructions will tell you, what I wrote was you put the foam tape on it and then you place that over the matching art. That's just the best way, I think, to tell you. Then this bow will go over that bow, and so you have a 3-dimensional piece. Now, I really like crystal lacquer, and I look for places that I can use it. And you can see how that is shiny. Well, that is crystal lacquer. And what is so surprising to me is that when I got my container out and I squeezed it, I squeezed too hard. And boy, there was a huge puddle there. And I thought, oh my goodness, if that thing goes flowing out, I'm in trouble. It didn't. It did not. I kind of moved it around with a toothpick, just to make sure that it would cover this glass. And you do need to let it dry. Now, I let it dry overnight, but I'm sure a couple of hours would be fine. And it just stays in that area. It settles, and it's smooth on the top. So it's great. It's just great, and it does what you want it to do, even if you forgot to tell it. So that's nice. Now, the borders, I have 2. Well, I have 1 border, but I have words. Now, the border is out of our stitched dazzles. And this is black, white, gold, and silver. And you can see the white. It just looks like a stitched piece. Now, on this one, I went just inside the paper because I really wanted that to show. I also wanted the stitch to show because it being white, if I went over the edge of the paper, you wouldn't see it. You wouldn't see where it began as nicely as this does. Now that's just the opposite of what I did with the blue, because the blue would show right on the edge of the paper. Here, the white has to go just inside the paper a little bit, okay? And you end up with the 2 long borders matching and the top and bottom matching. It kind of makes no difference, but that's what I did. Now, the other thing is that for my greeting, I went with the brown script greetings. Now, I've pulled the backing off so you can see it. There's 3 sheets in this. That's what it's going to look like. So I decided to do happy birthday, and you can see that there are 2 lines. There's flowers and hearts in here, and you can see I use the open heart, a solid heart, and then a smaller heart, and I stack them. And that's just a nice technique to remember. Okay, now in moving this and going to the inside, I do have my oval of this. So of course I'm going to use it, but I'm just doing it in the reverse. So I'm keeping the dot, and I'm again cutting it down just like I did before. So that's going to be 4.5 by 6. Glued it in place, glued the oval in place. And then this is the number 2 element. So this is, what did I do with that? Oh, it's right here. So my second one, which as you can see is, it just doesn't have the foliage, but it's perfectly good. And so I place that, and then for this time, I like to have things together so that visually they look connected. So I have the with love in one line going over that oval, and then another little heart. So there you go. Oh wait, I forgot. Also crystal lacquer right there. Now, yes, you're going to have to do this and let it dry, and then you're going to have to do that and let it dry, but it's worth it. Okay. So whenever there's glass or you want a shiny appearance, think crystal lacquer. Okay, so that is our second card. Now, I wanted to do something different. So, in fact, I think I need some white behind this. There we go. Yeah, you can see some shine and some stuff going on. Okay, I selected this paper, which is the other of that kind of peachy color, so peaches and blues. And I wanted to use that with this set. Excuse me. It's called the tin set, and you can see why. All of those containers are metal. Okay, but I also wanted to make this different. So I chose a paper, solid paper that would match it. And this comes out of Flit and Flutter, and you can kind of see it there. That is that kind of tan. And I use that with our new cutting die, which is Center Step Plus. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, this is 10 inches long by 6 inches wide, so it's going to fit in your regular Gemini, Big Shot, whatever die cutting machine you have, but it's longer. So you can do this one of two ways. You can either run this through your die cutting machine and then pull it out and flip it and go the other way, reposition it, or you can get the elongated plates and run it through in one fell swoop, whatever you want to do, okay? So that is going to give me my card base, which is the side step, but it has an extra step, which I really like. And I thought I really wanted to have fun with that. So you can see what I did. Yes, I played with things. So I went to this piece and I just cut it to fit inside my plate shape right there. Now, a lot of times when you're doing this type of card, you will have one piece of paper that will go at the top and also will go horizontally. So you just cut it out that way. I elected not to do that. I elected just to use this piece and then to decorate all the other areas. So in this case, we're going to stick right here for the moment. And I'm going to show you what I did. Okay, let me bring this down. So I'm going to do the middle one. So you see, I want to go all over the various ones. And the number 1 is down here. So I pulled that off and I foam taped that in place. So you can kind of, I think you can kind of see a little shadow there. Then I took number 3 and number 4 and foam taped them over the matching art. So that gave me, a nice piece there. But I really wanted to play up the blue, as you can kind of see. So I went into a couple of things. So first, I went into, this is the thin line, and this is the thin line colorful. Now this has got 10 sheets. Can you see my writing? Gold, silver, green, red, blue, pink, sky, which is a light blue, purple, copper, and brown. So I took the blue and I outlined this, and then I outlined just that strip. And so that gave me kind of a way that I could pair the blue with it. So then I wanted more blue. So I went into the blue script greetings, and again, just like with the brown ones, I pulled the backing off, but you can see it there. So this is the darker blue, and I placed hello. Then I also wanted to do more of the blue. So the peach, I'm just letting that match the peach that's in the push out. So I went to I did a couple of things. So where are you? Okay, these are the Jewel Butterflies acetate. These are acetate, as you can see, they are clear and they're printed on the acetate. They're also a punch out. So you just pull them off. They're already cut for you. And what I like to do is exactly what I did here, is I like to fold them on each side of the body. And then I take a piece of extra sticky tape, about a ½ inch long, put it behind the body and pop that puppy right there. So that the wings are not attached, but the body is. So then I also did some strips of acetate. So that is out of the heat-resistant acetate, which is just a sturdier acetate. And I wanted to play with the white. So you see the white there, and I don't have white anywhere else. So I wanted to bring some of the white in. So let me, I know you can still see that blue butterfly, but now you can see the white ones. Okay, so the white ones came from, now remember I used Flit and Flutter solid? Well, I went to the Flit and Flutter cutting die because there's lots of options here. So I've got several butterflies. In fact, 1, 2, 3, 4 butterflies. And you can do some layering, but I use the smaller ones. And because I wanted to get a little bit of sparkle, I cut them out of this, which is our clear glitter adhesive sheets. And this comes from Holland. And what is really neat about it is that the glitter is embedded in the adhesive that's on the back of the acetate. You got all that? So there's glitter, but it's not going to get on you and it's not going to get messy. So that's the most important thing. Normally, when I'm using this, I used to always think in terms of, well, let's die cut something and then let's lift up the glitter acetate and use that piece. But my friend Debbie uses it very often, just like I've used it here, where she just die cuts out of it and pops out the image. So that's what I did. And so I took 4 of the butterflies. One I put just down here. I did the same way as I did the acetate ones. So just the body is attached. And then this one is down here. But these two, as well as this, are on a strip of acetate. So the acetate is attached to the step, and then the butterfly is attached with extra sticky tape. Same thing here, same thing here. So that just lets me have butterflies fluttering all over. And I like the fact that I am duplicating the blues and the whites, and that peach is just a really nice background. Okay, now I did not go inside my card, but I did go on the back. So just for you and another of the butterflies. And with this, oh, I'm not sure if I put it in the instructions. Oh my goodness, if I didn't, I beg your pardon. The 10 envelopes will fit this perfectly, okay? And this will stand up, of course, just like that. And I like that extra step. Who would think that that just extra piece of cardstock would make such a difference, but it does. Okay, well that is the third card, and I have one more for you. And this is the last one. And this is on the bows. So this is called bows. So this is this. And this card has kind of a surprise going on. Now, I took my regular 5 by 6.5 inch card and placed it with the fold at the top. Then I cut 1 1/4 inches off of each side. So that means you're going to trim it along the fold line, then you're going to trim here, same thing on the other side. So that gives me a place, because I knew I wanted to use these dies, but I'll show you those in a moment. Now, just like all along, I have wanted to make the push out larger by creating a background. So this background is out of Dazzles, yes. And I know that you probably can't see anything on that, but this is the doily sticker white. And this has 4 doilies. I did use the largest one. In fact, let me lift it up just so you can kind of see. I know it's hard to see on the white. So there you go. So that's what it's going to look like. I'm not going to pull the whole thing off because I'll never get it back on the backing sheet, but it just lifts off like that. And just place it. However, first you want to put some paper down. Now, I did look around and I wanted to find colors that would match. And I wanted, rather than doing red and green, I went with the pink. I just thought that would really be better. So I used this. This is the Dotted Duos number 2. And this has a larger dot on one side, and then on the back side, you have a smaller dot. So you can really see this here. So there's the big dot and there's the tiny dot. So I did use the tiny dots. I thought that would work best. And the pink and the green are both in this package. I hope I didn't lie. Okay, so what I did with this flap that I had that had 1 1/4 inches cut off, again, because this has white in it, I wanted to leave some white edge. So I cut this paper just to fit within this shape. Then I put that doily dazzle down, sticks perfectly. And then I went into the bows, and obviously the one I'm using is the one in the middle. So my number 1 is going to get, in this case I foam taped it. And then I did use, and let me show you. Okay, so I did use all of them except that. So, okay, so 1, 2, and 3. But on the front, I just used number 1 and number 3. The thanks comes from our script greetings. This is, I believe, 500, yeah, 500 greetings. Black, white, gold, silver. There's 3 sheets of each. Of course, white is what I chose here to go there. And that matches. Now, I knew I wanted to have something darker in the back, so I elected to have the green, again in the small dot. This is, again, one of the other doilies, and I just want to position anything that's on the inside so it will be covered up by that flap, okay? So that is the number 2, foam taped. With love comes from the exact same place. Nice thing with dots is that they'll let you line up everything so you don't have to fuss with that. Now, let me talk to you about my edging right there. Ooh, doesn't that look pretty? Okay, I chose on the edge dies. This is part of the Fabulous Folded, and there are 4 of them. There's the flowers, the fence, the butterflies, and this scallop. This is kind of almost heart looking, isn't it? So I cut those out of vellum. Yes, out of vellum. And this is the dotted vellum. We have several vellums. Now we have printed white dots on top of a regular vellum, and we've got, as I said, several designs. We have a swirl, we have hearts and dots. This is the dot. You could use a regular vellum if you wanted. I just liked the dots here and the dots in this. Now, let me show you. I'll pull this out just so that you can see. The die itself is longer than what I needed. And, oh, this is nice. Okay, these are all, this is from when I did the webisode. So this is the length that you will get when you cut it. So as you can see, I just trimmed it on each side. And then I glued it behind the flap. Okay, so just glued that edge behind the flap. Then when I went to go inside the card, I covered this with another of the dot. So my pink is going into the inside of my card, which was perfectly fine. I was really pleased with that. Then, so everything is done at this point, just like that. Now, you can also take vellum and you can ink it with a blending brush and an ink pad. So there's just several things that you can do. And just to show you the other edges that are in that, so that's the one I used. That is the butterfly. There's the flowers, and there is that fence. Okay, just so that you have all the information there. And that took care of this card. Great, okay, so some different ways that you can use these, and indeed you could do this with any of the push-outs from our friends at Find It Trading. So just to recap for you, we have the frosted florals, and as you can tell, I didn't use anything that looked fall or winter. I just kept it into a lighter look, but I did use all 3 of them. So the baskets, the vase, the tin, and the bows, all 3 of them. So you can get a lot out of these. And only twice did I go outside for other papers. I kind of did that because I wanted to use those dies, so I wanted to do something else that, that I couldn't do with these papers, but there's plenty there. So that's what I did, that's what I have for you, and that's why I did what I did. I love sharing this with you, by the way. There is a money saver. It's on the right-hand side of the screen, so it's going to have all of this with a couple of other things, so feel free if you like that. Again, I did write all the instructions. They're down below. You can go to the card, click, and you will see what I used and any measurements that I had to. So all the instructions are there. If you happen to be watching us on YouTube, we would love it if you would subscribe, but then please head on over to Paper Wishes. It's the only place you're going to find the money saver, the only place you're going to see the instructions, and the only place you're going to find our webisodes, okay? So that would be great for you and for you to join us on a regular basis. You might want to sign up for our newsletter too. That'll come with a what's new every week. It will also tell you about the webisode of the day. Do you know that we do one every day except Friday? Yes, we do. Okay. And the gardeners are here. Can you hear them outside? Okay. I do want to thank you so much for joining me. It is a pleasure having you, especially to have you part of our Paper Wishes family. Okay. Lene will be here tomorrow, so she'll see you then, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.